I wanted to take some time to hear from you and answer questions you might have on IT fundamentals or computer literacy. So that's why we put together these Ask Me Anything episodes. My friend Aaron is going to ask questions about stuff in this chapter from viewers like you. I also want to hear from you as well. My email is at the end of the episode. Ask me anything.
So my grandpa always calls me and tells me his email isn't working.
Great. Thanks, Grandpa.
Yeah, of course. How do I help him troubleshoot that?
It's a good question. There can be so many different things that happen with email, or many things that go wrong on the computer, that you need to ask him specific questions, right? Okay. So by trying to get him to nail down what he's trying to do and what the machine is doing or not doing in response to his actions is a way for you to decide whether it's a network connectivity issue, a user action activity that's not happening right. It could be that what shows up on the screen will give you an error message, something that you can then look at and go, oh, that's leading me down a different path. Right. So you need to be able to ask very leading questions. And one of the ways to question users is not to say, what did you do? Right? Because they tend to go, I didn't do anything. They're already scared. Yeah. Right? Because the computer doesn't work right and they can't get their work done or do whatever. So you ask them leading questions. Has it ever worked? Right? Has your email ever worked? When was the last time it worked properly? Has anything changed on the computer? Right. And since you did that last time.
Constructive.
Right? So you're leading them to tell you what they did or didn't do without actually accusing them of doing something wrong. Yeah. Right? So, because the accusation will shut them down. I see. Right? But you need the specific answers to be able to figure out which direction to go in troubleshooting. So let's get to the specific question. How can you help your grandfather when his email is down? Right? Yeah. There are a bunch of different things that happen to make email happen, right? You need network connectivity, right? So you need to be able to check that. Right. Can you get to a website on your web browser, right? A good way to kind of go, is it the network that's at fault, right? If he's trying to send a message to a particular person and that person is not getting it, right? This indicates there might be a problem not on his part, but on the end user part. Right. So one way to fix that, or at least check it, is to have the other user check his or her spam folder. Ah. Right? Because maybe something in the keywords in the subject line triggered the anti-spam part, which is part of every email client these days. And so maybe that triggered it and immediately just sent it to spam. Yeah. I've gotten emails from my mother, right, love her, that go instantly to my spam filter.
That's like, a good point.
Mom, what's happening here? Yeah. And because she'd be like, why don't you ever respond to me, son? And I'm like, what? Right, so that's one good thing to check. It could be that it's not that the message is down, but it could be that he's typing in the email address incorrectly. Right. Right? So that could be an issue. Or that he's not typing in the full email address. Yeah. Right? He might be going, marieclaire@gmail and send.
There you go.
That's not going to go anywhere, right? Because you got to have the extra little .com on the end. So this could be another aspect of email. It could be that there are different email ISPs, internet service providers, and email clients have limitations on the size of files that you can attach to an email and send. With modern high-end internet speeds like we have here in my neighborhood, I can send a 50 megabyte file and not even blink. Mm-hmm. But if I'm sending that 50 megabyte file to my friend who lives in dial-up land in Michigan, in a rural town, there's no way he's going to get that email. I see. Right? It's just going to say, no, I can't download something that huge. Right. Right? So file size could be a limitation. It could also be, and I'm not sure if how this would affect your grandpa, but I'm riffing on email, so I might as well just keep going. A lot of corporations will restrict specific file types from being sent via email. This is to avoid things like spreading viruses on a work network,
right?
So it's to protect themselves and their users from their users, right?
Okay.
And the bad people who are trying to take advantage of them.
Right. So there's a lot of possibilities.
There's a lot of possibilities. So you need to ask those questions, like what specifically are you trying to do, and walk me through the actions,
right,
and the effects, and have him describe the screens.
Okay.
Right? And then if you can follow up while looking at the same kind of computer and just sort of clicking away, this is another good way of being able to visualize what's happening on the other end of the telephone.
Yeah, it makes sense. I feel like I'm going to be able to help them next time very easily.
Awesome.
Okay, so next is on to Bella from Seattle, Washington asks, my computer's telling me I have low disk space. What do I do?
Bella, delete some stuff. And that is an answer. What's happening is every computer is designed to have a certain amount of hard drive space free to be used to use as what we call a swap file or a page file. Fancy stuff. It just means temporary storage on the hard drive for stuff so that the computer can continue to run multiple applications at the same time. Okay? Once the hard drive gets too full, that disk space is not able to be used properly, and the system is going to slow down. Okay? Because it's having to work really hard to try and keep multiple windows open at the same time and do the work that the user is trying to get them to do.
Right.
So it's giving you this low memory, right, or not enough disk space error, and you've got a couple of fixes. And this applies more to Windows than Mac OS. Mac is pretty much self-contained, and you get that. You literally, the only thing you can do is start deleting things. But with Windows, there are lots of temporary files and Windows updates and stuff, and Windows is really, really careful about keeping all the stuff that it changes. So when you get a big patch from Microsoft, for example, on Patch Tuesday, it's going to, your operating system updates, but the old operating system, the pre-patched version, stays in your temporary folders. So that adds up a lot over time. And the tool we use in Windows to clean that up is called disk cleanup. Right? You can get to disk cleanup by typing. That's the easiest way in Windows 10. So just go to the little magnifying glass tool in the taskbar and click it and start typing disk cleanup, and it'll pop up. Run that thing, and it'll clean out your recycle bin. It'll delete. It'll prompt you to delete your temporary files, to delete downloaded files that you don't need anymore, including old versions of Windows. You can clean, depending on the age of the system and the last time disk cleanup was run, you could easily recapture 14, 20 gigabytes worth of file space.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'll try that first.
Right. Another option, if you have a lot of multimedia files, right, like you have a lot of movies that you legitimately ripped and put on your computer, right? Those take up a lot of space. So if you want to keep those but need to recapture some of your hard drive space, go buy an external hard drive. Right. In fact, you can even get an external SSD, so it's really fast. And just like take all those movie files and move them over, right? Don't copy, but move over to the external drive, and then you'll free up space on your main system. Yeah. So another great way. If you don't have a USB port free, or you don't know that you have one, you can also use various cloud storage features to put stuff up on iCloud or in Dropbox, for example, or on Google Drive. So you can just move stuff off your main system up into the cloud and take advantage of cloud storage.
Great. So there's lots of ways to make space to
Absolutely.
Work.
Yeah.
Great.
And when you finally exhaust all those possibilities, then it's time to take your machine into Micro Center or Best Buy or Fry's and say, I think I need a new hard drive.
Oh, well.
All right?
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a big deal, and you need a tech to do that.
Okay. That concludes the questions for Chapter 14. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Erin, and thank you all as well. My email's right there at the bottom of the screen. Ask me anything.